Stefan here from History Hustle, and I'm standing on the Bund here in Shanghai, China. And in this video I'll talk about the Battle of Shanghai. It was one of the first major battles that took place in 1937 and was part of the Second Sino-Japanese War, a war that later became part of the Second World War. There were earlier fightings in Shanghai. When Japan conquered, occupied and annexed the Chinese region Manchuria, 1931, there was 28th January incident in 1932, after which fighting occurred between Japanese and Chinese troops. A few months later, in March that year, the League of Nations intervened and the fighting stopped. China got a very unfavorable peace conditions, and Japan quitted the League of Nations just 1 year later. After the Marco Polo Bridge incident near Beijing in July 1937, the Second Sino-Japanese War was a fact, and Shanghai was targeted first. The city suffered by massive aerial bombardments in which countless Chinese civilians met their death, which was followed by Japanese troops who were set ashore by amphibious attacks. The Chinese defenses were too light, and so were their weapons, to stop the Japanese advance. Nevertheless, they fight bitterly against the Japanese, and what followed were bloody man-to-man street fights in the ruins of the city. The Chinese suffered massive casualties, and more than once, entire Chinese battalions were wiped out. The Japanese even used poison gas in the battle. To avoid encirclement of its troops, the Chinese commander Kai-shek ordered to withdraw from the center of Shanghai on the 26th of October, and 1 month later, the battle was over. Japan had won. The Battle of Shanghai is often compared to the Battle of Stalingrad because of its high casualties and the bitterness which was involved in the fighting. The battle left a devastating impact on both the Chinese and the Japanese. The Chinese because they lost a lot of casualties and were not be able to withstand a Japanese attack, but also the Japanese because they were over-encouraged, and the battle showed that the Chinese army was not as easily defeatable as they thought they would be, and this caused major resentment amongst Japanese troops. And this resentment would later lead to an infamous massacre, which I talk about next video. If you like this one, give it a like. Do not forget to subscribe. Until next time.